welcome to all the participants, panelists for today's webinar on biotech opportunities in Northeastern region. I'm Dr. Sriparna Barua from the Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, and we have with us a galaxy of panelists, an eminent persona who's an eminent persona to moderate this webinar. Extremely grateful to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Number one, because we all know biotech has a lot of potential in NER, but there's a very limited understanding as to where various sectors fall under its ambit. So we are very grateful to Dr. Day for all the support provided in making this webinar happen and also agreeing to moderate the session. I will be formally introducing Dr. Day and all the panel members. But before that, I would request our director, Dr. Vijay Sharma, to kindly give his opening remarks speak a little bit about NERES and set the ball rolling.
Thank you, Dr. Sriparna. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, I think. So welcome to this 1.5 hours webinar session. I'm Dr. Vijay Sharma, Director, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship. This is an institute under the Ministry of Skills and Entrepreneurship, set up primarily to look into the entrepreneurship space. We have been working with enterprises and entrepreneurs for a fairly long time. This is a new group of entrepreneurs that we are looking at through an initiative which we have taken with an industry body called FINER, Federation of India Northeast Region. Rajiv is here. You want to speak us?
Hello, sir.
And there's Rajiv, both Rajiv Agarwal and Rajiv Goswami is here, yes. So this is an initiative, we call it NERES, Northeast Region Entrepreneurship and Startup Summit. The idea is to provide a platform from some of these guys and a new group of people also happening in Northeast. Tremendous ideas. We want to provide a platform for them to sort of roll out their ideas into commercial ventures, and this is the beginning of that. So we are sort of giving them an award money of 5 lakhs, eventually to 20 people. So the idea is that we will have a set of people who will be coming out, venturing out. There are 8 sectors that we have looked at. Biotechnology definitely is one, as Dr. Sriparna said. I think this is one area in India that is growing rapidly. That area is something that we also in the Northeast needs to tap. As you are aware, we have the biodiversity is large, nature is abundant, and I think that is something that it's waiting to happen in the Northeast. We have a galaxy of people today, the who's who. I think I shouldn't take any more time now, and we are waiting really eagerly to listen from all of them. A galaxy of people from the entire group, and Dr. Bindu Day, who's been with the government setup, academic. You have entrepreneurs. So Dr. Ganesh Narayan, I know him from IIT. So there is this combination of both academic and entrepreneurs who's in the space. I'm sure the participants who are here today will benefit a lot. I'm sure we will also benefit a lot because this is an area for us who are from the social sciences, totally rocket science. And I'm sure it will be interesting for us to also know about it. So thank you all the panelists who have made it today. And I hope that we will have an interesting time for the next 1.5 hours. Thank you, and we wish all the best. Dr. Sriparna, back to you.
Thank you so much. I first take the privilege of introducing Dr. Bindu Day. Bindu Day is a technologist with expertise in early R&D, validation studies, upscaling processing, and commercialization of products in healthcare sector. She has been into IP handling, technology transfer, licensing and clinical trials of vaccines, biological diagnostics, and medical devices from inception to the product. Funding research at various levels, both at the national labs and Indian companies, she has been involved in completion of technological life cycle from concept to product. As a Secretary, Technology Development Board, and as an advisor to the Department of Biotechnology, both under the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, she has been a part of Make in India activities across sectors while meeting Sustainable Development Goals 2030. Dr. Day has been the program manager to initiate the development of infrastructure in biomedical institutions and Medical College of Northeastern Region for research, training, and patient services, and human resource development through special schemes of NERs starting 2009. That has given her exposure to research, translational, and business ecosystem of NER. We are indeed very fortunate that a person of her stature and her expertise will be here moderating this entire session. So welcome, ma'am, and thank you so much once again.
Thanks.
Before I just hand over everything to the moderator, I would also like to welcome all the panelists here. We have, again, as director was also mentioning, a galaxy of panel members here. Just like to name who the panel members are and then welcome all of you. We have Dr. R. Ganesh Narayanan, Chairperson, Technology Incubation Center, IIT-Guwahati. Welcome, Dr. Ganesh. We have Dr. Mrityunjay Sur, CEO, KIIT Technology Business Incubation, and Professor Director, School of Biotechnology, KIIT University. Welcome, Dr. Sur.
Thank you.
We have Dr. Taslim Arif Syed, CEO and Director, Center for Cellular and Molecular Platforms. So welcome, Dr. Taslim Arif Syed. We also have with us Dr. Manish Dewan, who's the Head Strategic Partnership and Entrepreneurship Development Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, which is BIREC, which is a Government of India enterprise. Welcome, Dr. Dewan, amidst our midst. I think the participants are really, very fortunate to get such a panelist in our midst. We have participants from all over the entire, in fact, from the entire northeastern region. Apart from Northeast, I see a lot of participants from Pan India also. And of course, the last panelist would also be Mr. Rajiv Agarwal, who's the CEO of Bitchem, Aspect Technology, and Vice President of FINER, who will also be sharing his views along with the panelists. So welcome all to this very important webinar, and I hand over for moderation to Dr. Day. Over to you, Dr. Day.
Thank you, Dr. Barua. Thank you, Dr. Abhijit. Good morning to all my panelists. I think this is a very fantastic panel. And then I see about 74 other participants, and as Dr. Barua says, that they are across all 8 states of Northeast region. And I do see many from, South India and other parts of the country. So welcome all the participants and my panelists. I don't want to say much about my panel because this panel is actually a very, very wholesome panel in the sense that we have representatives from Northeast region. We have a very eminent academician and professor from IIT-Guwahati, Professor Narayanan. Then from representing the industry side is Rajiv Agarwal, who is an old friend of mine. And then we shift towards, the other part. We have Dr. Mrityunjay Suar from KIT, who represents the non-governmental sector, and his presence here, though of course, all of them, they have fantastic academic background, but their presence today is because of the experience in terms of ecosystem development in entrepreneurship, and lot of successes in startup funding, mentorship, and then seeing them rise from the level to a very higher scale. And then I shift to Dr. Taslim Arif, who is actually CEO of CCAMP. CCAMP is doing extremely good job in the entire southern India, and it is a very important part of the Bangalore biocluster. And finally, on top of everything is Dr. Manish Dewan, who is actually sitting with a very heavy purse in his hand. So they open the strings based on the merit. And we all have, I was a part of it, once upon a time, but now I see BIREC, he is actually head strategic partnership and entrepreneurship development, and I've seen him performing. In fact, I have seen each one of them. I mean, I have seen Taslim performing exceptionally well. 2009 onwards, 11 years now, CCAMP is, in all the places providing lab space, providing mentorship, IP handling, and then they handle a lot of good funds, seed funds, accelerator, and other things of the BIREC and on behalf of many other funding agencies. I don't want to go on elaborating about them, but I hope my panelists, they know what are the expectations from the participants in general as to what they can contribute towards Northeast region in terms of entrepreneurship. development. Just for 1 or 2 minutes, I will say that the Department of Biotechnology in 2009 started efforts towards research and development across all sectors, and we noted that with some initiative, things move very fast in Northeast region because it's becoming a like of island phenomena. So anything you try there, it comes up very well. And with that impression and experience, I first maybe invite Dr. Narayanan, who is representing the academics from the Northeast region, to tell the participants about what are they doing and how they can be of help to the participants in terms of the final goal of NERES, FINER, NEC, and of course, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship. Welcome, Dr. Narayanan.
Good morning, all of you. And I am a professor in the Mechanical Engineering Department, and I recently took the chairperson of Technology Incubation Center. And in general, in IIE-Guwahati, like it's an academic, environment, and then we do sponsored as well as academic research with the help of students. And with respect to the main objective of this discussion, the various departments contribute in different ways. Okay, so for example, in Mechanical Engineering Department, we have a set of people working in bioscience and bioengineering, more on the medical equipment design, fabrication. Even I too work on that a little bit in the last 6-7 months time. Okay, and then in bioscience and bioengineering department, that many names are coming out in newspapers that they do good research in terms of therapy, new discoveries, new materials. And in COVID 2019 as well, they contributed a lot, including in our department, some of us. Okay, and the healthcare is one important aspect of biotech. And then recently I have seen there are a lot of streams, a lot of funding opportunities available. Okay, and when I entered into this particular field, like I was telling you, the medical device, design type, then I thought, there's a lot of scope for, connecting conventional mechanical engineering aspects to healthcare. Okay, so in healthcare, we have departments working in BSB, of course, other bioscience sectors also people work, mechanical engineering and the electrical engineering department, communications engineering. So several people work on this. And with respect to Northeast, okay, so there are a lot of potential again in healthcare, but my point is like it is not well developed or something which it has to be. Okay, probably the one important reason is there is no centralized direction provided. Okay, to the entire Northeast, or sort of like combining different institutes, different people working on this, and then like you can imagine like technology business incubator type. Okay, so like a TBI type where the whole Northeast can get benefited out of that, and one of that could be a healthcare sector. Okay, and we also have this is what we do at department level, and this is what my point is. And from Technology Incubation Center point of view, we have a couple of incubatees who work on more on the more on the mechanical side of this, again, healthcare. For example, in recently for COVID 2019, we contributed a couple of important practical aspects. Like for Guwahati Medical College, we designed and fabricated a device which can provide food and medicines, automatic device like a robot type. Okay, which can provide food and medicine to patients without contacting much. Okay, and we also like develop face mask, mass scaling of face mask, and was provided, and of course hand sanitizers was the initial help we have rendered. So from technology Technology Incubation Center point of view, some incubators are helping the nearby hospitals to take care of the initiatives. And we also have one important initiative last year I took up, that is called New Generation Innovation Entrepreneurship Development Center. It's called NERES. And as part of that, we help students to have moderate funding to start their work. If a student is interested in like incubation or startup in future, it's very difficult to get fund as a student. But then this scheme provides that opportunity for them. And I see some of the projects. First year is going to get completed, and second year is just, we just selected the projects. It's only for IIE-Guwahati student teams, and there will be mentors. And I see in these 2 years of project, there's a lot of scope for healthcare related activities. Okay, people have proposed very like smart bandage, okay, and development of joint, hip joints basically, and then analysis on that. And people have done proposed to develop certain technologies relevant to micro manufacturing, which is useful definitely for all the healthcare sectors. So I see a lot of potential in such type of initiatives. So as I said previously, the main point here is a combined effect should be there, effort should be there. From from entrepreneurship side, the science side, technology side, and IIE-Guwahati always is going to be helpful in 2 ways. One is helping in science and technology, and as well as we do help in entrepreneurship and skill.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Narayanan. I think you have described very well that you have got IIT-Guwahati has developed a lot of technology, especially you mentioned about medical devices and biodesigns expertise. And you mentioned about the deficiency as to why there is not an outreach. I think we'll come back to you. But now I will invite Mr. Rajiv Agarwal, who belongs to a very prominent business group, SM Group. And they have many verticals, but Rajiv per se is specializing into road technology, and that is how I know him. Roads, especially of the district and the village level, and they are into R&D for highways, and then also for the in the difficulties which are prevalent in Northeast region, that despite having a lot of enthusiasm amongst youngsters to have their own businesses, what are the major constraints so that our participants can really come out of the inhibitions? So please share something with all of them.
Hello everybody. I'm extremely pleased to represent as Vice President FINER also. FINER is one of the co-organizers as the leading chamber of commerce of industry in Northeast region. We take deep pleasure in announcing NERES 1.0. As the subject really highlights biotech, unfortunately, it does not seem an industrial venture to the larger audience when we talk to the industrial groups and chamber. It is still taken as a R&D subject, and in terms of the authorities and agencies, I have seen that the programs are largely conducted in educational institutes or in such kind of incubation centers where larger presence of the student fraternity is there. So one thing is very clear, that the industrial side of the brick and mortar space are largely not well exposed to the business opportunities in the biotech sector. That's why we also designed one creative where we meant B is for biotech and B is for business. So we should talk biotech as a business opportunity, which could bring more and more participants from the MSME sector. With respect to Northeast, definitely there is ample amount of bioresource which is present here. Either it is present in the wild or it is being produced as an agri leftover or a forest leftover. We did a program between FINER and IIT-Guwahati on the Indo-Japan Bioresource Symposium, where we got a lot of exposure. where the Japanese delegation, including elephant dung, how that could be used to make certain industrial materials. And that was the time we met one female who is making paper, handmade paper from rhino dung and from elephant dung. So a lot of waste to wealth opportunities could also happen because of the biotech intervention. And we also conducted the first Assam Biotech Conclave along with the Guwahati Biotech Park 2 years back. So personally, I feel I at least know the tip of the iceberg, but a lot of my colleagues, my directors, co-directors in the group, they also think that I am wasting time by talking about biotech, because they feel इसमें business तो होना नहीं है. Why is he going and talking on that session? So I hope Bindu ma'am, you can dispel this notion, and we can have more and more participants from the MSME sector also. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajiv. I think straight away I would like to contradict the statements of your friends, because
Yes,
when I looked at the the reports of all the NERES awareness camps, boot camps, and then other platforms, I noted that the 200 business ideas that you shortlisted, in that the agriculture is the first one. And agriculture means biotechnology. I mean, you can't keep agriculture, whether it is agriculture in the field or food processing. You see, the curd and all the wine and other things have all biotechnology incorporated. The second thing was related to services. Even in services, the medical and healthcare services are very, very predominant. Textiles, you had a very predominant group on textile advisory. So how can, and textile is very specialized in Assam. You have lot of raw material, unconventional raw material and conventional raw material, like all kinds of silks. You have tea. So how can this perception be there that they don't have scope? And of course, healthcare is something, as Dr. Narayanan said, that there is a lot of scope, but people are not developing it as businesses. They are quite satisfied doing academic research and other R&D activities. So today's session is primarily to dispel that, the notion.
Absolutely.
And that's why this panel is here. And now I will move to, I'll come to other summation, whatever different states are looking forward to. I'll move to Dr. Mrityunjay Suar. Mrityunjay is representing KIT. KIT is basically, it came as an education organization in a non-governmental sector, and now they have a very distinct name for them, the Technology Business Incubator, to start. And he's a molecular biologist by training. And he has taken this business incubator to biotech incubator and got lot of funds from all government departments and non-governmental departments. And there are about 200 companies he has, nurtured in the incubators. So, Dr. Suar, please share your experiences and just try to see what kind of linkages you can provide to Northeast in business spaces in biotechnology.
Thank you, Dr. Dey, for inviting me to this, and thanks to NERES team to invite me. So I have been, Dr. Dey called me and said, you have to tell the participants about how the KIT-TBI was built in a place in Odisha. Because the participants, Odisha, in 10 years back, like for the technology business perspective, were just like what we are talking today in NER regions. So 2009 and 10, when I came back from Switzerland to join KIIT, I was talking to people to set up a technology business incubator, and nobody was understanding what a TBI means. Because I learned from there in Germany and Switzerland, but I thought I'd replicate. So before I speak a story about how we built the TBI, which is now sustainable, you can say profitable, and leveraging a lot of funding and investments. Three things for all of you. Number one is that when there are a lot of challenges, you find a lot of opportunities. So today I see in NER region, you say it's a lot of challenges, and I look at a lot of opportunities there in NER regions. Now, the second one is that focus on solutions. Work on problem statements, but focus on solution, which is very important. You cannot keep on talking about problems and problems years together. Third one, funding in Indian context for startups, innovation is never be a problem. And if you are in NER, it's just like, advantage for you because specific budget goes to NER. So if you really want to build something with a good intention, I think things can be achieved in, at least 5-10 years time. Now, coming to what KTBI is, KTBI, in 2009 and 10, we approached Department of Science and Technology, but at that time the Biotech was not, there. So we approached DST, and DST gave us an incubator and telling us that people from Odisha are not that enterprising, and they are very, bit lazy, and they are very classical people. So then, we built a team. Why I'm saying all this? You need to build a team. It cannot be Mrityunjay. It has to be the team of incubation center who are going to really drive the whole ecosystem. So I came back with a positive note that they have been granted incubation center. However, they don't have much of expectation from us in Bhubaneswar. We built up, we reached out to institutions, we did the mapping of the local region, what can be done. So we realized, like in NER, you don't have a critical mass who talks good about startups. Examples who can, you can speak about. So we really built a strategy that how to bring 3-4 companies who can have multi-crore turnover in 2-3 years of time. In Biotech, we promoted one company called Connect Biofertilizer. In 2 years' time, it was 10 crore turnover company. So then people started jumping into this, the game of incubation. So what I'm trying to tell you, that you need to build successful examples. You cannot have only capacity building programs, discussions. You need to have a strategy in NER, in each of the states of NER. See that you are building critical mass. It cannot be only one, couple of them. And that is quite possible in NER. Now in 2010, DST gave us, and then we kept on working on it with good strategy, with good intention. And later on, I went to TDB, went to all the sectors, and finally we landed up in BIRAC. And today, as Madam said, the person, Dr. Diwan, with a heavy purse, the BIRAC really was looking for somebody in, in eastern part of India could take up the biotech sector into next level. And why I'm saying all these things, people always tell me, you need to really do lobby and all. Never it happens. If you're really building the right strategy, government is looking at you in a positive way. I have seen all of them, including Dr. Bindu De, when she was the secretary of TDB. I went to Madam and talked about, ma'am, we should build a manufacturing hub. And then she started talking, giving a positive note. Yes, why not? If we really come up with a new strategy, good strategy, I think his government is quite, thinking progressive way. Similarly, we approached BIRAC in 2012. We got the bio incubator, and we're very happy that BIRAC is one of the most popular organizations now pushing the biotech startup ecosystem in the whole country. We have several examples. And today, as Dr. De mentioned about, almost you have got 270 plus companies you have promoted, and almost close to 100 of them are biotech sectors. Most of them are BIG grantees, where you get around 50 lakhs of rupees. Now, we are so popular today that the ecosystem of 100 startup companies, biotech, I think there are 20% from Odisha, 80% from outside Odisha, also including from Northeast regions. Now, why I'm saying, because once you build strategy, build a critical mass, build your army in a sense who really support bio incubation, the incubation process, I think things are going to happen, fall in place. Now, today Odisha could do it in Bhubaneswar, as KTBI is doing it. Why not in NER? For that, we approached all ministries, and all ministries have really funded us, supported us, including MSME, DIT, the MAITI one. I think money, as I said, money is not a problem in India. You write a sensible project, good concept plan, I think everybody is going to support it. So when we approached BIRAC, BIRAC first gave us a BioNest, it's an incubator proposal. And thanks to the BIRAC, because they have generously supported a very good amount of money, we could establish not only the laboratories, but which are needed for the startups. So what I'm trying to tell you also, that do not buy equipments as a project mode. Buy equipments, establish some things for an enterprising mode. Otherwise, things are not going to be feasible, not sustainable. Now, BIRAC supported a bio incubator, and then they're looking for somebody to build a partnership for BIG grant. So BIG grant is called Biotechnology Ignition Grant, which Dr. maybe Divan will talk about it more. So this is given to the startups, the innovators. If they get selected, they get 50 lakhs of rupees. And they have really, they want to see more and more startups coming from Northeast regions. Now BIG was, we became a partner of BIG, and you'll be surprised. Last call for all of you, because earlier the Biotech was not getting many applications from NER. So what we did is a special purpose vehicle was created called BRTC, which is a Biotech Regional Center to promote technology promotion in the Northeast regions and eastern part of India. With that vehicle, we reach out to many institutions in NER. I was also traveling with a lot of my mentors, my advisors. Even Dr. Diman was there. Everybody flew to the different parts of NER. We see there are a lot of potentials. There's no, if you really started, things can happen. So through BRTC, we reach out and we could really handhold some of the interesting people there who really want to build something good. Maybe they don't have much ideas how to build it. So with that handholding concept, we reach out, and last BIG call only for NER, we got 206 applications, which is ever the highest one you can think of from NER sites. Why I'm saying it's all with a positive note, because things can happen if you really want to make it happen. Things will never happen if you really don't want to make it happen. The webinars will come, platforms will be created, but do not take it as a project mode. It's an ecosystem mode, it's a process mode. With that belief, KTBI today from 2010 to 2020 could build an ecosystem here. And we have been now reaching out to many parts of NER, to Nice Johra, to other places like IIE-Guwahati we've been working with, to the Tripura University. We want to see things can happen at your place by you. We can only come and work as a mentor incubator. I think this is what I want to tell you. In next conversation, we'll discuss more about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suar. To all the participants, I just want to mention that in Northeast, we are especially focusing on funding provisions and experiences of the incubators who have got funds from the government or the like organizations. There was an intent to bring in venture funds or banking systems, SIDBI, etc. But I thought, let us first clear, the opportunities as it exists from the government funding, because there is enormous amount of funding, as Dr. Suar has shared. And now I'll invite Dr. Taslim Arif, because, and he'll bring in, a very good experience, like Mritujan said that they had initially constrained when they approach Delhi or other organization as to where is the manpower. But as far as Bangalore is concerned, there is too much of, awareness and too much of literate manpower. So the outcome is also there. And I'll invite the team to a little bit describe about CCAM, which is providing a lot of space and funding opportunities, and what is the outcome. And the team also cover in how can you network. I mean, you are little far off from the Northeast, but in twining scheme of the Department of Biotechnology in R&D, we were very successful in bringing 2 or 3 labs of the Northeast to the mainland, and vice versa. So just think if it is possible. Maybe you are doing it already, I'm not aware. So just share. I invite Dr. Taslim.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Dr. Day, and also organizers of this meeting. Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Taslim Arif Sayed, and I work at CCAM, that is Center for Cellular Molecular Platforms. CCAM, as Dr. Day mentioned in her introduction, started around 2009-10 as a concept built by Dr. Bhan, who was secretary at that time, along with Professor Vijay Raghavan, who is now the principal scientific advisor to the PMO. As a new organization which would be positioned as a catalyst and enabler of high-end science and cutting-edge innovation. And I think that's where a very important aspect comes. I think enabling capabilities are very, very important, But one thing that actually, before I go on to talk about a little more about CCAMP and its efforts across India, including Northeast region, one thing that actually coincided very well, the journey of CCAMP is something that happened from the central government. Central government in early part of the decade of 2010, 11, 12 onwards, actually moved significantly to, gave a humongous boost towards what you would call it as, funding support for scientific entrepreneurship and innovation, which is very important. We all know that entrepreneurship activities at large were supported, but scientific entrepreneurship and innovation actually got a phenomenal boost at that time, which coincided with rather the fulcrum of the change that happened in biological science. Entrepreneurship was the the setting up of BIRAC, which I think Dr. Manish Diwan will talk about at large. So I will take a say, but I think that is definitely a big change that DBT instituted, BIRAC with, under the leadership of Dr. Swaroop, who is now the secretary DBT. So I think that was a humongous change, and I think the timing of coinciding with CCAMP was absolutely crucial for CCAMP to build few of the verticals that we actually evolved into. So I just wanted to say that I think one of the important thing about activities at CCAMP, it is an organization which has 3 verticals broadly. One of the important vertical has been the entrepreneurship vertical, which started around 2012 or 13 onwards. But I think one thing that CCAMP has done is actually picking scientific ideas which are crucial in nature, which are risky in nature, and support them and hope that some of them do well. And that has, without any doubt, I think has happened because of the close collaborations and larger at the most collaborations with BIRAC through various schemes, including as a big partner, we are the first ones and the big partner. Then there is BRAG, there is BioNest, there are various other schemes where CCAMP has actually collaborated with them, gotten the support from BIRAC, and then used that support to actually build this. What has happened over a few years, and I think the reason I wanted to share with a lot of people who are from Northeast is things in biological sciences also have changed in last 10 years, and I'm sure Northeast can be the next big frontier in terms of it can happen in the region. At CCAMP, we have now a large number of startups which are actually done, but few of them have been now globally recognized, as we say. We have startups like something in C6 Energy, which largely talks about using ocean farming to be applications in agriculture. So it's a very important use. String Bio, which is a company which uses synthetic biology to convert global warming gas like methane. Labs, which has recently developed non-invasive ventilator, which are already rolled out and supporting what you call it as the COVID patients as we speak. We have startups which are doing diagnostics for COVID-19 and are building very, very important ICMR approved kits already in the market. So it's very important. But if you see, one single common point for a lot of successful startup has been amazing science and phenomenal determination to take that science forward. And that's where innovation ecosystems and players like CCAMP come into play, which I'm sure, and we can talk about it a little bit, but they can actually help to pick those ideas and work with scientists who are trying to take those ideas to the next level. I think this hand-holding is crucial to make sure and translate the potential into a reality of the idea, and CCAMP attempts to do that significantly. So that's where our broad work has been there. Now, going to the next level in terms of Northeast. Northeast is phenomenally blessed to have resources which are not present in places like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Orissa, Chennai, Delhi, Bombay, and so on. A biodiversity capability of Northeast that we have begun to work on with. We have collaboration with IPSD, we have collaboration with Shillong, we have collaboration with a few other places where we have begun to now engage, because I think those are the resources, and there are some scientists who need this hand-holding to take it forward. So under the BRAC activity that we have done several events and engagements with them, where there, as well as brought scientists from there to network with Bangalore ecosystem, with Chennai ecosystem, and so on, to build that. So those activities, and Dr. Day mentioned about twinning program that actually has been there. We haven't done that, but we're looking to the Dr. Day to ensure that whatever know-how and capability that we have built in southern part of India, how we can share with the Northeast colleagues and counterparts there, and how the know-how sharing and knowledge happens. We'll be very, very open. We have informal collaborations begin, because I think that's the best way to share knowledge, and we look forward to building it to the next level, including anybody on this meeting who are building this. We'll be very happy to see, share that, but most importantly, learn from there, because there are definitely many other things that we do not know, and we'll be very happy to learn from there. I think building a technology as well as science-led entrepreneurship is the key for India. And one of the strengths that Northeast provide is resources of biodiversity and others that Dr. Day had mentioned. We'll be very happy to see how it can be done. And I think there are several opportunities that we all can work together. I'll stop here and happy to take questions later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taslim. You mentioned about the excellence of CCAMP due to excellence in science, and a great push towards entrepreneurship, and business mentality to be taken forward. And we are seeing the fruits, because CCAMP is doing exceptionally well, and I'm sure that in the next round of question I'm going to ask you as to how do we gradually build up those things in the Northeast. You see, Northeast region has got some advantages, as I have traveled through all 8 states. First is that the education level is comparatively high. There is no malnutrition problem over there. People are quite aware. Their languages are good. But only thing is that they are more service oriented. The families don't want to invest into business. They want their kids to go into the government jobs. So that risk taking aversion is very, very much existing in most of the states. But if you see the society in many states is a matriarchal society, and women are actually very well developed, in business acumen. So I'll come back to you again, and now I'll invite Dr. Manish Dewan. Dr. Manish, I said I used the purse with a string, but I think you always keep your strings very loose, in the sense that you are everywhere. I think one institution or one organization that has made a difference in the business climate, biotech business climate in the country and abroad, is Biotech. And they are very, very effective. I can't tell them that reach out, because they're all the time reach out. You visit, all the participants, please do visit Biotech website, and you will be so much pleased to see several calls for proposals. So it's a very, we are very fortunate to have Manish over here. Manish, do share. And I know that you are doing a lot for all regions, but today's session is primarily for how can you expand more and more, because NER may have some challenges, but they have lots of advantages also, which I'll mention later on. Please, Manish.
Thank you, Dr. Bindu.
Yeah, hi.
I appreciate having me here. Pleasure all mine. And thank you, organizers, as well. I am very pleased to see that there is a focused activity to build the ecosystem in the biotech area in the Northeast region. And bringing all the stakeholders together, I think that is the right way to get it happen. I represent BIRAC, which is an enabling body, as Dr. Bindu repeatedly said, deep pockets, but I think the onus on the agency is also to see that we create opportunities as an enabling body, and we do that on the pan-India basis. Specifically for the Northeast, we have been doing it. I will cite few examples. And these are strategic, not only funding support, we create programs and schemes. And we do that with the help of the partners. We just heard Tasleem, Mrityunjay, Sriparnaji is also there, Dr. Bindu is also here. So all these partners are actually making things happen. We are behind them so that we can identify gaps and probably point in a direction. And I think the execution and scaling of those activities is done at the ground level by all the stakeholders put together. So in a basically mission mode. So today in the country we have about 3,300 biotech startups, and going forward in next 5 years, we are looking at these numbers to scale to about 10,000. So this can't happen unless we see and sow the seeds across India. And Northeast region in particular is distinct in many ways. What we look at when we do this activity on pan-India basis, we found that although the schemes are there, for example, Biotech Ignition Grant, which gives you 50 lakh rupees for ideation stage to move to proof of concept stage in 18 months of a time as an individual entrepreneur, startup, or so you come and you utilize an incubation center's environment to build your idea to proof of concept, and that happens. The scheme is open, and it happens at the national level. So what we felt was that once there are applications from Northeast region also and other regions, there is a disparity. The regions where the biotech ecosystem has more evolved, the the quality of application or the access to the infrastructure in certain areas is much higher compared to, let's say, in other areas. So in particular, we found that in the Northeast region, as Mrityunjay also mentioned, the number of applications coming for funding support have increased, over past couple of years, but the number of grants have not gone up in the similar proportion. There's a reason for that. As I mentioned, the technology, if we look at all pan-India level, we select and prioritize the technology applications. So it gets graded because of where it is coming from, what kind of substantiation the application has. In that context, the Northeast region was getting left behind. So what we did was we identified that as a gap here, because the ecosystem is still evolving. So we rolled out a special BIG call that is only for the Northeast region. So the Northeast region applicants would compete within the Northeast region and come out with the best local centric applications. They can be either harnessing the strength of the region itself, or technologies which can be brought from the outside the region and be deployed and implemented in the region. So that way, the local ecosystem will evolve through peer-to-peer learning. So that's one example of a strategic infusement to create and nurture the ecosystem. So that call has been rolled out, and Mrityunjay's led incubation network the KIT Bionest is spearheading that activity. We also created new incubation centers in the region. Now you have IIE-Guwahati, IIEST, Mizoram University. They all have bioincubator under Biotech's Bionest program. We also gave a special Bionest project to IBSD and BRDC put together. That is a combined proposal, where about 100 women entrepreneurs would be trained and on the orchid cultivation to promote the local pool of talent. I think the key here is that the ecosystem has to evolve from the region itself. Instead of mapping it up and comparing it with the more mature ecosystem in the country or outside country to begin with, that would be, instead of that, we rather create and nurture the ecosystem using the inherent in-house advantages. As we mentioned, and we clearly reflect in all such interactions with NER, the first major thing that gets highlighted is the huge bioresource which is available, the hotspot which is recognized as the Northeast as the recognized hotspot for this. The Northeast has done phenomenally, like spearheaded in this direction. Sikkim, for instance, has become the first ever state which is now fully organic state, not only in India but maybe internationally as well. So that is a local, like playing to the local strength. Biotechnology being interdisciplinary in nature, and it encompasses variety of facets, namely which all get supported through Biotech also, is healthcare, life sciences, wellness, which includes diagnostics, medical devices, industrial biotechnology, secondary agriculture, that would include even sericulture, poultry. Then there is waste to value, sanitation, and clean energy. So there's a vast variety where biotechnology interplays with different sciences. And now with interplay of even AI, ML, the IT sector into it, so this has become more a mix of many disciplines. So you don't necessarily need to just remain limited to traditional, conventional the life sciences related activity. So there is a lot of scope which has already opened up, and there are institutions which are already there in Northeast, and there is, as we just heard, a lot of focus also is there, intent is also there, and all these presence of all these stakeholders in this particular webinar is a reflection of that intent itself. So I think Northeast that way has huge advantage. It can now look at peer-to-peer learning, reach out to we of course reach out to Northeast and other ecosystem enablers as well, but the people from Northeast should also reach out to these agencies, to these opportunities, and all there to facilitate that as an enabler and participate in your success stories. I will rest here, Dr. Bindu.
Thank you, Manish, for giving a very good introduction about what Biotech is doing in the Northeast. At least we all are aware how effectively they are trying to do directly or through KIT Bhubaneswar. Now my second round of questions would be from Dr. Narayanan, Mr. Rajiv, and also Dr. Abhijit, if he's still there, from Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, or Dr. Barua. With a request that now you have heard Dr. Suar, Dr. Manish, Dr. Tasleem expressing as to there are ample opportunities available in terms of funds and then joining hands, mentorship. And my experience is also there that, you know, if you have good business ideas, money is never a constraint in the current, you know, Indian ecosystem, any sector you pick up. But since we are talking about biotechnology, biotechnology has gone much, much ahead of all other sectors. So keeping all the limitations in your mind, you have seen good expertise available. For example, in IIT-Guwahati, where Dr. Narayanan is heading the technology business incubators. He's a chairman, and then he's an expert in biodesigns or designs per se. And then Rajiv has seen you know, a lot of verticals, and Dr. Barua. So you know, one by one, if you can just share as to what you are looking for, so that the participants clearly know through you or directly as to how do they approach the relevant agencies in other parts of the country, or they invite them to be partner in all the feasible business ideas. I'll just share one idea, which is, you know, which I have experienced when I was, you know, I was the chairperson of a particular group in Millennium Alliance. One group from Kohima came to us, and they had a business on tourism. But it had so much of biotechnology built in, because in tourism, they wanted to take people to the organic hotels and organic guest houses, and giving them all organic food, so that there is a detoxification of the body. And I thought there was a lot of biotechnology involved in that. It was such a precisely and nicely driven. So tourism with built-in biotechnology is a very, very important area. Similarly, yoga, meditation is important. And then as Tasleem said, bioresources, very unique bioresources are there. Very unique type of chilies are there. I've seen horticulture, you know, they simply throw pineapple down the hill rather than processing it through crush technology. So please, if Dr. Narayanan, then Rajiv, and then Dr. Barua, if we can express, so that, you know, my intent is that we come out with some recommendations by which we can forward it to the relevant authorities in Delhi or in the Northeast region to get more focused attention on the business climate. Dr. Narayanan?
Yeah, thanks, ma'am, for summarizing this. And my point is, I'm a little bit, you know, going to, elaborate my previous point. We have lots of fund here, support from government agencies. We have good, knowledge repositories, student support, army of people, staff. Everybody is there. But whatever examples you have posted and others have posted, these are all individual contributions. So the contributions are basically like you have an incubator and people do some work and then they basically contribute to their company's growth. Of course, that is of course important. And in terms of publications, if you ask me, like I can academically perform well. But on the whole, as Dr. Mrityunjay said, if you want to have an enterprise mode of working, then you need to have a holistic approach. So there has to be a gathering. There, not the conference type I'm saying. The intent has to be there. There has to be some intention in Northeast to have a holistic approach. Okay. So there is a lot of potential, of course. We say like bio-ecosystem, of course, that is given by nature. Okay. And then we are using it, for our own benefit, for our own business, everything is fine. But relating science, technology, and development of, startups, all have to be connected through some like a policy means, or there has to be directional effect. Okay, right now it's more like individual collaboration. Of course, fine. So if somebody from other parts of the country come to me and then say, okay, I want to collaborate with you, I said yes, of course, fine. And in terms of incubation center also, of course, I will try to collaborate with I will assist in like people collaborating with our incubation center, incubatees, everything is fine. But finally, end of the day, what's going to happen is individual peaks. Okay, I do well, Everything is fine. On the whole, Northeast is doing fine. Okay, different examples are there. Like you gave example of tourism based on bioscience. Yes, that's a fantastic example. And I have also seen one of our student. He's an MTech student from IIE-Guwahati, passed out several years before. And he is after graduating, he started sort of like a restaurant based on Ayurvedic background framework. Whatever his food is going to have, is going to provide you has got an Ayurvedic base to that. Okay, these are all some examples we can tell. Okay, I also invited him for a presentation here. His junior students are very interesting to hear. All those things are fine, but after that, what do the students do? Nothing. They go back, they sit in classroom, they have their own work to do. And the startups and entrepreneurship, which is the main intent of this gathering, I guess. It cannot come just by motivation. Like I can motivate somebody who's got 80% mark to get 90% marks. It's not going to work like that. As you rightly pointed out, there's a lot of risk in the career. Okay, so my job as to encourage people around me is to create a unique, uniform effort, directional effort. Okay, where some academicians, funding agencies, like maybe some other body like some hospitals, okay, government officers together should come and create an initiative which encourages people around us. That's what I want to convey. I think you got the point, right?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I understand that what you are trying to say is that in terms of funding there is generally no constraint. But people have to come forward in a very serious manner. That
there has to be an intent.
Yeah,
intent has to be there for enterprise development.
Sure, I think
just before that, if you ask me to develop a company or something, I would think twice at this age. Do I need to venture into starting an incubation or startup?
I think you should take a challenge. You should take a challenge.
Yeah, of course, challenge I accept. What you are saying is absolutely fine. No objections to that. Yes, that's correct. But then I'm just telling you, the intention when I say what I mean is, I think you got the point, right? So there has to be a directional effort.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nayan. And Rajiv, you want to say something about,
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, when we talk about cellular, molecular, and these kind of words, it definitely, from a entrepreneurship point of view, it sounds that these ventures are requiring a lot of lab efforts. And other than the lab efforts, this also requires certain investments which are high-risk investments. So if BIRAC or DBT could come out with certain funding policies for the MSME sector, where they bring these MSMEs to invest in Northeast, their entrepreneurial sweat. And if the larger part of these high-risk projects could be funded by the schemes of DBT, then we feel that the MSME sector who are not exposed to the biotech as a sector may be interested to look at it. Otherwise, ma'am, I appreciate the scheme like BIG, which is the ideation grant, which would largely be directed towards the student community. But how, as a Chamber of Commerce and DBT, we could partner and we could, look at certain incentives, certain funding mechanism to bring these high-risk investments on ground is a matter to be looked into. I hope I am speaking sense. Dr. Diwan, you may also speak your mind on this.
You want to say something, Manish, Dr. Manish, on this?
Rajiv, thank you for bringing that point. I think it is relevant. You need to look at in two contexts. One is that BIRAC's existing schemes, which cater to MSMEs for even high-risk investments, even for phase 3 clinical trials inclusive, as well as startups which want to undertake their products for commercialization. We actually support working capital, raw material procurements, etc. So those are existing schemes, and those are also open for any venture which wants to deploy their products, technologies in Northeast, or it is originating from Northeast. So these are already existing and open avenues. What I mentioned was specifically to nurture the ecosystem. We have created a specialized, dedicated scheme for Northeast, a special call for under BIG, that is for Northeast region. So only Northeast people would be able to compete in that scheme. So there are the first call was rolled out, and I'm happy to tell you that there were 110 or plus applications which came out under that call. So this is
Sir,
a
206, Dr. Dibal.
Sorry, thank you, Mrityunjay. Mrityunjay is basically implementing partner leading that effort for the Northeast. So 200 plus applications, it's phenomenal in that call, and there would be 10 winners out of it who will be given 25 lakh rupees each to move from ideation to proof of concept. And then this is a step where they get integrated to the biotech ecosystem at large. And local successful examples originating from here would become idols for other people to follow. There are already entrepreneurs who have originated from Northeast, and they are doing phenomenally well. So I don't want to just name one or two, but there are several now in the kitty, and they have actually reached out success. So the entire ecosystem strength is actually available for anybody who wants to take the leap. And for the specific schemes, etc., I think we are building on those. Few, as I mentioned, the BRTC regional center, which Kate Mrityunjay is leading now. So that is a regional center which facilitates and make people aware of such opportunities, as well as evangelize new entrepreneurs and help them understand the startup journey by themselves. And they also become local partners to connect such entrepreneurs. Tasleem mentioned that there are already high-end technology facilitation. They have been integrated with many of the institutions already. And anyone from a region can actually reach out to any of these specific two partners who are forthcoming and here itself, but any of the ecosystem partner. So there is a lot of things which are available.
Thank you, Manish, Dr. Rajiv and Dr. Narayanan. It appears that there are a lot of specialized schemes. And Rajiv, when you say that there should be committed funds for MSME in the Northeast region, somewhere, my experience, if I relate the committed funds to the R&D, sometimes it's not a very healthy outcome because in 2008-9 we were told that 10% of the budget of many scientific departments will go for the Northeast. So if DBT was 2,000 crore that point in time, say 2009, 200 crore would go to Northeast. And we were under severe pressure to spend that money, otherwise that money will be lapsed because it can't go to any other head, rather than first come first kind of a thing. And then the quality used to be compromised by many of us. I mean, let me confess, this is the disadvantage of having very committed funds. Rather, if you keep it open and focus more on handholding, ecosystem development, and diversification in both low-hanging areas as well as high-end. As far as high-end is concerned, Tasleem talked about it. Because, I, by some family reason, also belong to Northeast. My parental home by marriage is Tezpur. So I have been traveling a lot, and then I was handling this program of R&D. I noted that there used to be very good quality of olives once upon a time in the entire of Assam, but I don't see those olives at all. I used to see very good quality of lychee where the seed is absolutely negligible, and it is gone now, nowhere. And then, because it used to be in my own house, we used to just have
Correct.
put the hand and then in textiles. Mr. Muga and Eri are very specialized and very high quality silk, and it's those gamchas and then saris and other things are very expensive and very high demand in the whole of East Asian countries. So these are high-end areas. I know about biodiversity projects which NCBS Bangalore was doing with Northeast, and it's a high-end project. So I would say, Rajiv, whatever schemes are available, if
Right.
through ecosystem development, through IIE, IIT-Guwahati, your own organization, if you have a CSR unit, and ONGC is very predominantly doing CSR activities, and many other oil companies I have noted. So if you develop an ecosystem, and as pursuant to this, you have a lot many other such activities by which it doesn't fades into the memory that we had this workshop in biotechnology and biotechnology ecosystem. Today we talk and tomorrow we forget. If we persistently go, say 2 months, every 2 months or every 1 month, have just a small half-an-hour session and see if we can encourage 2 to 3 companies or bring them to IIT, Guwahati and or other places, then it makes a difference. But obviously we can demand specialized focus funds, say about 100, 200 or 300 crore for a particular financial year. I'm sure that if you as a body write to NEC or through Ministry of Development of NER, you will get for biotechnology, you will get, because government has got money for specialized activities. But you should always see that whether you have the capacity to spend it, and if you want to spend it, how to lay down the future pathway to link with people like Mintujan's unit or Taslim's unit for high end. And these are only a few I have mentioned. There are many more whom you can outreach. Now I would, does it make sense, Rajiv?
Yes, ma'am, if I may be allowed
Yeah,
to
sure.
put a point to Dr. Manish. Dr. Manish, thank you for letting us know that there are schemes available. As DBT and BIRAC must have also mapped a lot of bioresource and raw materials which are available in Northeast and which needs industrial value addition. Keeping that in mind, if a time-bound scheme could also be, or a policy could be launched where MSMEs could be attracted to come forward and, with minimal equity, say 5%, and also taking the advantage of BIRAC funding for the working capital, if they're able to enter the biotech sector, the ecosystem will not just remain in labs, it can go further into the industrial level. So that was my whole point actually.
I think makes sense, Rajiv. Why don't we put together a detailed note on this,
Sure,
and
sir.
maybe send it across? Then we can review it internally, and
Sure, sir.
if there's any merit, we will be very happy to support that.
We will provide a kind of a one-pager concept note, and then we will look for your guidance.
Manish, can I say something here? Because lately I came across some groups in the Northeast who are keen to go for bilateral collaboration. They want to bring in a technology from outside, but the specific scheme by which such units could be nurtured by BIRAC. I know there are people sitting in Northeast who are looking towards lot of EU-based companies bringing in technology which can use the raw materials from here on a IP sharing basis. But the schemes to Manish, can you say something about it?
So I think I agree to these suggestions. I think there are all opportunities which are in store. be it from outside India as G2G bilateral collaborations, inter-applicant, or there are opportunities within India also. There are companies and there are expertise or their MSMEs who would like to partner locally and utilize and add value to the raw material that local resources. So I think if you Rajiv, if you want to also bring in those prospective candidates, that there is a pipeline, so it is possible that some things can be done within the existing schemes, as well as if it is required a special focus, we can also consider how to cater to that.
Perfect, perfect. We'll come back to you on that, Dr. Manish. Bindu ma'am, you're on mute. I think, Bindu ma'am, we are...
Bindu ma'am is on mute.
Yes, I
right?
think...
Till such time that she comes back, Rajiv, I was also thinking, just to add on.
I'm back, madam. There was
some
power shutdown.
Ma'am, I just wanted to put in one point here that, you know, the type of entrepreneurs that we get here, while, you know, even if we say that I have myself tried a lot to, you know, popularize the big scheme, circulated amongst a lot of entrepreneurs here, but even the capacity to fill up the big scheme, to even understand how to access what is available, there is a gap in that. So we know actually we require more and more of mentors who can even do a handholding to help them ideate as to how their idea can fit into a scheme which is already available. I think that's a gap. For example, I think one of the participants is here itself. I had asked her to attend. You know, she's a beautician, Madhumita Saikia. So she says, and she knows that there is a lot of demand, and she's already into making some cosmetics. But then she's doing it in a very, you know, she's neither in her own level, but she has not been able to scale up. She also understands what the various herbs are. I've been trying to mentor her since I'm not from the field. So there is a gap in terms of how much, you know, I've connected her to some people even in KIIT, etc. But how much will they handhold? So they need a lot of more handholding support. Some sort of a support like that is, she's just one example. There would be many others. How do we go about that? I mean, that's more or less something Rajiv had also said. You know, these are some of the doable things for Northeast. So I think that, yeah, that's what I had to say.
Taslim, I know Madam talked about a very low-hanging fruit, but you know, you can give some idea as to how you develop, because you have done it very nicely, the mentorship in all sectors. So if you share a few ideas on, I know that, you know, I'm asking you guys to do a lot because, you know, you have minimal things there, but, you know, this whole workshop, the webinar is all about, you know, how do we bring them up? So just share some experiences.
Sure. I think I would say from our side, one thing that we definitely was helpful to us has been our engagement with both academia and industry, and bringing on the board where experts were brought in, curated, and who wanted to contribute to the scientific and, you know, the business journey of these ideas. And that was very important for us, and I would say for Northeast region as well. I think one of the important thing to do is to actually, you know, build your well-wishers who are outside, who want to contribute to a larger ecosystem building. And Northeast does, and I repeat myself, it has phenomenal resources which needs to be tapped into. And what we can do from CCAN side is that we'll be very happy to see how we can leverage the resources which is available here and build a bridge between the region there and there, where right now the way we are going, while the flights and all may not be possible, but even virtually one could leverage experts who are here or any other place in India we have, and build it a collaboration for them on a technical side, on business side, mentoring, hand-holding. And we see that the hand-holding actually makes huge significant change in the journey of an innovator, an entrepreneur, or a researcher. And so CCAM has implemented that heavily for last 8 to 9 years, and we believe that has been one of the crucial points for us to make startups successful. So if there are opportunities, if there are requirements in the Northeast region that entrepreneurs here on this call, or the ecosystem incubators, or others on this call who would like to leverage what we have, we'll be very happy to share our network and work with you guys and build on it. I will write my email ID on the chat box in a couple of minutes so that you can reach out to us and see what can be done together. So we'll be very delighted to bring this to the next level with Northeast region here.
Thank you, Tasleem. Dr. Mrityunjay, you want to add something more to the requirements as Madam said, and then Dr. Narayanan and Rajiv mentioned hand-holding and taking the, from idea to business building?
Yeah. Ma'am, we have been going to different parts of the NER, and I see, yes, as all of you have been echoing the same thing, people are very government job oriented people, but still I'll tell you, some of them have really become mutant and they really want to build something interesting there. I have a couple of examples, but the interest of time, I'll not go through it. So one is, maybe some of you know Priyanshu Sharma from Guwahati, who built a company called Innotech. Innotech is doing quite good. And similarly, you've got Smriti Pradhan from, she built a company, again, all this through BIG grants. And she's in Sikkim now and built a company called Soy Life Sciences. And then they're building, they're producing, or the processing the silk industry waste and getting a lot of protein source out of it. There are many examples, but what can I tell that as a KIT2BI, as we have a special wing called BRTC, which is funded by Biotech as a regional center, please write to us. What we do, we really, once we find out somebody, they're looking for some help, we really do the mapping, what kind of supports we can give. According to that, we have got several team members. So today I'll let you know that KTB has got almost more than 35 in-house full-time people, those who can help many of the startups in Northeast region. So I reach out to them. Regarding the funding part, everybody has questioned, everybody is raised. I think funding, again, I'm telling, funding is not a problem. So let's say you are a NER guy and you have an interesting idea, you want to experiment the idea. So you need some money, right? So for that, you can give around 12 to 15 lakhs of rupees to institution mode. Then once you get success, I think build a little thing, you can go to BIG, the SPURS program, then it can goes on, builds on money. Money is not a problem, let me tell you. What is the important is the hand-holding, the mentorship program. Now, whenever we get messages, emails, it talks about only money. Please remember, money is not the important things. It's all about how do you build the plan, execute it, the team member. This is what you have to put most thing. For that, BRTC is going to work extensively with all of you or some of you, because this is a selection process. We cannot work with thousands of people. We don't have time for that. So please build your plan accordingly so that it will be attractive for us to really work with you as a mentor program. And for us, mentorship is completely free, gratis. Do not think that you are going to charge money for it. That's what the BRTC is built by BIRAC. So please write to us. We'll bring any type of mentors for you. And that is going to probably change your whole thought process in your startup sector.
Thank you, Mrityunjay. I think we are coming to the close of this discussion. A lot of points have emerged. So what I thought that whoever is making notes, I'm making my own notes. We consolidate all the points that have come out and the recommendations made, and then try to see what agency can be roped in. Of course, BIRAC is important, and actually all guys are important, and then we see how we can approach the other appropriate authorities. I was just thinking to Dr. Narayanan, what is the healthcare speed? Because I noted that in the Northeast, especially in Nagaland and Mizoram, the cancer incidence is very high. And some of the diseases which are not that prevalent, something like helminths parasites, for tea planters and tea workers, which is no longer seen in other parts of the country. But I noted that people are not paying in a business format much attention to these areas. What do you want to say? I mean, you can encourage a lot of pass outs from the medical colleges to do, and I know some of them have started good businesses. Rajiv, you can, or Dr. Narayanan can quickly cover, and then we can conclude the session.
I mean, your question is why there is no business development to prevent such diseases?
Not prevent, even diagnosis.
Okay.
Diagnosis.
So,
I remember as an R&D, I have been trying stomach cancer. I'm telling you, very prevalent in Nagaland because of the dry fish that they take.
okay.
Yeah. So I'm just throwing the idea. Maybe you can do. You are doing, devices and other things. Think about it.
Yeah. Probably people are approaching it, and it is like one or two examples where people try that, and that could be one reason, or people may not know at all, because like these diseases are like a pretty common elsewhere as well, right? So you are pointing out two states where a particular group of people have such problem, but otherwise there are other issues as well, other probably a smaller version of such disease, a larger version of the disease is available in other parts of the country. Probably they are taking care of that. And I mean, I'm not an expert in that, but what I can guess as a common person with some touch in in business, or not business, really incubation startup type, what I can suggest is people think that the medicines, the diagnosis you develop for the other similar diseases holds good for this as well. Okay, maybe that could be thing. Or the fourth reason could be that people are not coming out, so that that like such things exist in those two states, and these are all very specific problems that one can take up, and provide service or diagnosis, as you say, for especially meant for Northeast problems. These four reasons I could find out. So sorry that I could not explain much, because I'm not an expert in such things.
I'm just raising.
Yeah.
Sure, madam, you want to? Any other point to all the panelists? If you want to say something, Mrintujay, you want to add, or Tasleem, Rajiv?
Ma'am, on my end, I have basically understood that we need to connect Finer and BIRAC, Dr. Manish's unit, so that on the MSME build-up of biotech, where ideation is not required and incubation services may be not required, but directly we can jump into an MSME venture. We need to work with them, and at the same time, those entrepreneurs who want to get into ideation or who want to get into the lab level activity, there they could get in touch with the KIT incubator, where Dr. Mrityunjay has summed up very well the kind of services they are providing. I hope I am.
Yeah, I think we have, I have noted down all the points. I think connectivities, I'm just trying to sum up now. I'm sure Dr. Barua is there. Dr. Barua, biotechnology is a very important sector, and I don't know how many business ideas you got into biotech sector when you did this NERES one. But I'm sure you can continue with some kind of communication with all the players out here who are there as panelists, and connect. You can circulate the email ID of all of them, so that participants, who are about 65 in number right now, can at least share their concerns and try to incorporate their ideas into business. And let's keep connecting. And as Rajiv said, that we try to have some specialized schemes. We will cover it up in our concluding notes, which I'll circulate in, say, 3 to 4 pages, and then see what best we can do. I think it's been very nice to have all the panelists, and they have shared their knowledge and their experiences, and they have very nicely come forward to hold hand, do the mentorship, and share whatever experience they have. And now I hand it over to Dr. Barua for her concluding remark.
Yes, thank you so much. Engaging session. I'm sure all the people who I do not know about others, but at least personally for me, I think this is ultimately going to help us create what we call the biotech ecosystem in Northeast, because we never had all the partners coming in. And the MSME sector, which Rajiv has pointed out very clearly, that is also a big opportunity where some enterprises can come up in the biotech sector. I think we are going to take this forward. We will wait for your note, ma'am, and then we will also decide as a group how we all collaborate and take it forward. And I'm sure this is just a beginning of something very big happening, which we can see envisage for the entire region, and some gaps which were never addressed. I think that is the first step to even an attempt to identify those gaps and also make an attempt finally through our effort to bridge those gaps. I think that is what I had to say. It was a wonderful hearing all the all the eminent speakers here on the panel. So this takeaway from this webinar is very, very clear now to us. And it's our homework now. Of course, we need your support, ma'am, and of course, all the other panelists' support for us to take this forward. So with that, I thank you all. A special thank you, ma'am, and also to Rajiv, because Rajiv has been instrumental in saying the need, expressing his need that, why we need something on biotechnology. That's the big thing. Very less understanding amongst most people about the opportunities in biotech. So a special thanks to Rajiv also for making this happen.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all my panelists. Manish, thank you so much. Tasleem, Brintujay, Rajiv, and Arayanan. It's been nice to, and madam, you have to help me in consolidating our note. I'll do
surely.
So with my thanks to everybody, and thanks for taking out time on a working day to all of my panelists. Thanks, and my encouragement to all the participants. Please connect with us. We are open. We look forward to getting more and more business ideas from you people. Thanks, Tasleem.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, panelists, thank you, Bindu.
Thanks for the opportunity. We'll interact with you.
Sure, absolutely.
Future as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Messenger. Thank you, Dr. Bindu.
Bye all panelists. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye there.